Can you say yes in the chat? Yes. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Amazing. It is the first time I'm doing both physical and online. So people that are online today, if you have any questions, you can use the Q&A. Obviously, it's more like a conversation today. So like you can stop at any time and ask any questions. Same for online. I have a lot of content for you guys today. So hopefully you enjoy the content. My objective today is just to give you a lot of information about email marketing, e-commerce in general, the trends we have seen. I have some case studies I'm going to show you, product updates, a lot of content. So hopefully you enjoy it. But first of all, thank you for Digital to welcome me today to speak about Klaviyo. So Digital has been a partner of Klaviyo for over, I think, a year now. We have customers in common, and what I do at Klaviyo is work with digital agencies because partners are kind of like the heart of our ecosystem. They help customers with strategies, set up like pretty much everything that you need. And they also are a really big part of what we do because they give us feedback on the products. So thank you guys for having me today, and thank you everyone for showing up. So as I mentioned, I'm a partner manager and I've been at Klaviyo for over 18 months now. I'm based in London. And as you know, or you might not know actually, that Klaviyo is an American company. We have approximately 1,500 people now working at the company, and we have 200 people based in London. So we have marketing support, customer support, we have some engineering team, partnerships. So we are trying to like help all of our European customers because we have more and more customers in Europe, which is really good to see. Before I start, who is using Klaviyo in this room? Okay. Who is using MailChimp? Who is using something else? Sendinblue? Okay. Good. So for people that are using Klaviyo today, it will be like kind of like understanding how you can make the most out of the tools. For people that are not using Klaviyo today, it will be more like an idea of like what you can actually do using Klaviyo. So hopefully you like this first part. It's just about what's happening in the world of cookieless future, and also how you can use your own data to generate more revenue. And I have some tips to give you. So just on this presentation, the first part is just understanding where we sit today, like the new marketing e-commerce playbook, because there is a lot of changes happening. And I'm going to show like 5 phases that we always recommend in terms of customer first marketing. So when we say customer first marketing, today we're going to speak about data and customer data. As a company and as a brand, what you want to do is yeah. Okay, perfect. Like 5 phases of like what you can do with your data, and I will just finish by like focusing on Klaviyo and like why we do what we do. I need to move this. There we go. So the cookieless future, a very interesting topic at Klaviyo. So if we do a jump back and we look over time, what is happening, like technology has been improving massively, but privacy didn't. Meaning that in the past, like third-party data was something that a lot of companies were using to learn more about their customers. But nowadays, a lot of companies need to use their own data to learn more about their customers. So knowing what they have done on your website, what they have shopped, what categories they have purchased from, and what's the cycle of purchase they do month after month, or quarter after quarter, or year after year. And the only chance for a company to know more about the customers is really to track all of that information in a customer data platform. And today, Klaviyo is positioning themselves more and more as a customer data platform, when in the past it was more like a marketing automation tool, sending emails, SMS. Now it's really more about the customer data and how we can use that. As I just mentioned, like today, everyone is a customer here for different brands. You have more power than ever in terms of your own privacy. And today, everyone is more conscious about what companies are doing with their own data. So if you think about yourself when you go to a website, and then you receive like, you know, those advertising about like, your dad, I'm sure you've bought like some stuff for your kids, and then you have like a tracking that is put in place, that is like giving you advertising. Obviously, this is no longer going to be relevant in the future. So if you want to target your customers at the right time with the right information, you need to own that data, just because it's not going to be relevant in the future. And people don't want that anymore. So shift of strategies, just a few examples. I don't know if you can see them, but back in the days of third-party data, a lot of companies were just heavily focusing on that to understand what their customers are doing. And now if you look at today, it's just like, how can I direct sell to my customers? How do I understand them? How can I target them with the right information at the right time? And this is what we are all about. And we love saying less talking, more talking. I try to translate this in French. It doesn't work. It's just impossible. But the message here is stop stalking your customers and get to know them. Like you will actually be like in a physical shop. If you have someone coming to your shop every day, you know, it's like a VIP customer. You're going to be like welcoming them, speaking to them. You're going to like treat them specifically, like, you know them. If someone is coming every 6 months, you might not remember them, but sometimes some online shops actually don't even know if it's like a returning customer, if it's a new customer, if they have shopped like this, if it's a VIP customer. This is very important. So talk to your customers and stop stalking. So the new e-commerce marketing playbook, this is kind of like what I'm going to be speaking about. Customer first marketing is like a strategy that always puts your customers first. So behind like every email that you're sending, every experience that you're giving to your customer, you need to have your customer in mind. And if you want to do that at scale, obviously you need to have the tools to actually do that. So if I take an example of Sendinblue, for instance, so MailChimp, you know, they're really great tools. And, you know, I've been using them before in my past life, before I joined Klaviyo. Sorry. And they're like amazing tools for like newsletter sending, really easy to use. You can create lists, etc. But they don't really give you like the deep information that you need to have about your customers. And the good thing with Klaviyo is that we have direct integrations with Shopify, BigCommerce, Magento, WooCommerce. I'm missing a few, but like pretty much all of the e-commerce platforms where all of your customer data is going to be imported on Klaviyo. So you will be able to see historical data. Thank you. Historical data in terms of like what they've bought on your website, what categories they have looked at, what products they've bought, the size of the product. You can have like some smart automation about, again, if we take the example of a kid, you will want to know that John came to my website and bought a newborn something like, I don't know. Clothes. Exactly, clothes. In 6 months from now, you know that the baby is not going to be newborn, it's going to be 6 months old. In 3 years, you want to know that he's no longer interested by like the 6 months old category, but the 3 years old category. And the only way you will know that is by having those integrations and knowing more on each of your customer. And like the good thing on Klaviyo is that every single person on your database will have a single profile. So historically, we will be able to see exactly what they have done, when they have done it. and you will be able to segment it and to use it in your conversations. So if we look back at like the D2C and how customer first like was created, like if we look at the wholesale, you have like a one-to-one. So you don't really know anything about your customers. You're just selling to shops in Belgium, for instance. You know, they're just like, it's a great revenue model. You can like, you know, obviously some people just do B2B. Marketplaces like eBay, Amazon, like you don't know anything about those customers. All you're doing just generating revenue, and you just don't know like who has bought your product. You can't get in touch with them anymore. Like you have no control over that. And direct to consumer is obviously what we focus on. It's really generating all of the content and the information that you need from your customer, and you have the complete ownership of those data. Like nobody's going to come one day and be like, give me that information. Like it's yours forever. And there is 3 components of like customer first marketing if we look at like what it means. And the first thing that it does, it's like focusing on people. Like the customer first data is again the insight that you learn from your customers when they're joining you know, your list, or when they're shopping for the first time. Those are just all of the learning that you can actually do. And then the third part is like, what are you going to tell them now that you know, it's like the first time they come to your website? Are you going to do 10% off? Do you know if it's a VIP customer, if they come back to your website, what are you going to do to those customers? So all of those experiences will be done on a one-to-one, just because you have automations that you can do that will take pockets of customers that have the same similarities, and then you will be able to like communicate with them personally. So I'm going to move on now to, again, from guessing what they want. Like I think everyone here has done it, like send a newsletter to your customers saying, we have a new collections for women's dress. If it's a man, probably that, you know, they don't really care about that. So just go back and like think about how you can segment your database from like the information that you have from your customer. So instead of guessing, you can actually really understand what they need. So here, 5 different steps, and this is just like more inspirations for what you can actually do. But if we look at the first step, it's really about goal setting. What is your goal as a business? Do you want to have more repeat customers? Do you want to increase, you know, like signups from visitors and get them based in your database? And all of these things really is also coming back from like knowing exactly what your customers are doing. I'm going to repeat that a lot today. But if we look back at goal settings, before you do anything, like I mentioned, like what is really your main goal? Is that increasing traffic to your website? So obviously there is like tons of ways to do that. But then if you increase your traffic, what are you actually going to do to convert those people once they come to your website? We suggest having sign-up forms in a really smart way, where you can also do A/B testing in terms of offers. So if someone is coming to your website, are you going to give 10%, 15%, like a free sample or something? You can taste that, but if you don't know your goals, then you're not going to be able to act on it. Conversion rates, again, newsletter opt-in, like at the bottom of your website, or anything that you can do to increase that. And retention rates, what are you going to do to just like make sure that those people actually shop again? So you have strategies that you can put in place to actually do that and achieve your goals. Do you have any questions? Anyone online? No? Online. No? Good. Once you have decided what are your goals, you can really try to find like inspiration and architecture. So when you have learned like your objective, you will be able to put like some sort of like call to actions together. So for instance, like some people might not know like what the customers want from their website. So I have 2 cats, and I sometimes go to websites where I'm buying croquettes for my cats. and I receive communications about dogs and parrots. It's like, I don't need that. So what I can do as a brand is just like getting more information from my customers. So like surveys, interviews, quizzes. We have like sign-up form where you can actually put the categories that you're interested in. So next time you receive a communication as a customer, then I will get the cat's information and not the dogs. If we look at this example here, this is one of our customers that had a trigger. Yeah, I remember this one. It was about feedback. So she really wanted to speak to her most loyal customers. So she was like, if I really want to learn about them, I'm going to send them a really short email just to speak to them, to give me feedback on my business and to learn from them. But you can also do it with, like, if someone not happy with the service, then you can also trigger an email to them. We have a lot of integrations with like review system to give you feedback on your services. But all of this is, again, like depending on like what you want to do and what you want to act on. Is anyone doing quizzes or some sort of like forms on their website that they're using to segment? Maybe later. Is it useful to segment? Are you using it to segment your base or?
Actually, now my quiz is not linked to Klaviyo.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Okay.
That's why I'm not answering.
I just people repeat the question for the audience also.
Yeah.
Is Klaviyo going into quizzes, or because you can create forms, but you can't create a quiz yet, as you want to be a customer first platform? Are you going to create anything, or is it on the roadmap?
I don't think we have quizzes on the roadmap. We have reviews. It just came out not too long ago, and we are beta testing the reviews directly on Klaviyo. But if you really want some good quizzes integration, like we have lots of partners that actually integrate with Klaviyo, and then you can just like get all of the information on each of your customers' profile and then segment later on. Yeah. Implementation and data mining. So once you have taken your customers' feedback and you have like all of those experiences, you can then start to really craft the messages. So for instance, if we take the example of the dog and cats I just gave you, then you can like really create some specific experiences for all of them. So I don't know if you know Cheeky, they have lots of different categories from like old people divers to like, kids divers, obviously very different segmentation. And they realized that they didn't know how to segment their customer with communication. So they actually did a new sign-up form saying, like, do you want incontinence products? Do you want news? Do you want reusable things, baby parenting? And what this does, even if they don't know it yet, like redoing it to your customer base is going to give you tons of information about who they are and how to segment them later on. I will send this presentation to everyone so you can like read the details. Measurement and automation, obviously this is like one of our biggest thing is then when you have put all of these strategies together, like how are you actually doing it? Because we all have like a lot of ideas. Oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Actually, how do you do it? On Klaviyo, it's like super easy. You have like flows that you can use where you have like different triggers. So everyone is coming to a flow saying, for instance, if someone has not purchased or if someone has purchased in a specific category, then you can really like have like trees of decision to make sure that people have the right information. But you can segment on geographical location. So let's say tomorrow you do a pop-up in Brussels, you don't know who is based in Brussels because obviously it's like too difficult for you to like narrow down your base. You go on Klaviyo in 2 seconds, we give you all of the information about who lives approximately like 20 kilometers from Brussels. If you do a pop-up, you send all of those newsletters to those people, then it's like really easy to narrow down. You can also have acquisition source. So if did you acquire someone from Facebook that is kind of like cold? Like, do you need to like work longer on those to make them like a loyal customer? So you might have like some different, like, longer emails or like more emails that goes out. But also like anything that is in terms of like predictive data. We do have a tool on Klaviyo that will predict the next order for your customer. So if you don't know that, because obviously like you're busy running your business, we will give you this information on Klaviyo to say most of your customers buy like during that time, but also this specific customer bought like 5 times over 6 months. And now it's about time to reach out to them, because it's like the time that they might buy again. One of the things that you can think of personalizing can be like the images in your email, but also the subject lines, the timing. You have lots of different options to A/B test. And on Klaviyo, you have an option to like show different content depending on the person. So you have like exceptions where, for instance, if someone is based in Australia, you can say equal AU. I'm going to like show the summer images and not the winter images that have like, people are based in the UK and they don't care about swimming today. And so a lot of things to think about, but really to have an impact to your customer. This is a perfect example. We have a customer that says, the name is SendCloud. They do like a lot of home accessories. And what they're using here, it's like a towel. Obviously, this is Australia in winter, and then this is London in winter. You get it, like different geography. And you don't have to do 2 emails or 3 emails or 5 emails. You can do conditions in your email to make sure that everyone in the right location sees the right image. So it's not like, you're not doing like 100 things. You're kind of like streamlining everything to make sure that everybody can actually see the right information. So this is like a really good example of what you can do. And then once you have figured like how to segment your audience, you can apply pretty much those groups of automation to anything. So you can have like the website entry point as like a conditional split. So if you have done flows on Klaviyo, you have like a tree of decision to say someone has done something, yes, it will receive this, no, it will receive something else. So it's like, as you can see on this, over there. It's just like, it's kind of like a true decision saying, if someone came from Facebook, I want that information to go out. If they're based in Australia, you can have those images to be changed on the content. You also have the option to have like first time versus repeating customers to really have a bigger impact in terms of like, call to action on like a first time customer, maybe like 5%, 10%. Repeating customers like, thank you so much for coming back. Those messages are so important because like you want them to be loyal, you want them to come back, and like this can really impact like the conversion rates on your email. Personalized flows. We do have like some set of flows, and Digital has done that for a lot of customers too, where it's just like abandoned basket, welcome series, browser abandonment. So you go to websites and then you don't buy anything, you just leave the site. We're able to track this information and say, are you still interested in this product? So like fashion brand, cosmetic, but also like any sort of like fast moving company, use that to just like create more momentum and just more sales. First time, it's kind of like the same logic in terms of like how you can segment those. And you can see here, they've used the same email, different images, depending on like the category of the person that has chosen. Cart abandonment, that's another example here. So you can see how everybody, when someone is starting checkout and has more than $300 or euros in the basket, like, are you going to wait 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours? Like, you can just decide when this is going to go out to your customers. And then you can also obviously decide on, like, again, like 20%, 10%, what are you going to actually offer them? The card value is super important, just because if someone leaves 10 euros, like, okay, 10 euros. If someone forgets like 1,000 euros, then you might want to reach out to them a bit faster. Repetition. We always speak about repetition. Like, once you set up your email and your flow, like, you need to work on those long term. Like, don't sit back and relax and be like, my strategy is done. Like, there is always so much to improve in terms of like A/B testing, like speaking to your customers, doing the research. Like, if you do, like, if you have done surveys before, it's a really good way, as we mentioned earlier, to just like really ask the feedback to your customer and see and say, what do you actually want to hear from us? And then depending on your brand, you have so much you can actually tell them, like behind the scenes, like some of them, if you have like a brand that is like super personable, you can just like literally make them feel part of your company. And there's a lot you can actually do once you have this information.
There's a question from the audience from Louis. He's asking, how does Klaviyo work with multilingual webshops?
Okay, so it depends. Most of the time, Louis, can you tell us what's online? So on pretty much all shops, it depends. It's the setup of your website. So for instance, on Shopify markets, where everything is like in one platform, you will be able to like trigger languages on flows. But if you have 5 different websites like .fr, .bnl, etc., you can actually have different views on Klaviyo, where you manage kind of like all of the analytics per country, like all of the languages per country, and like we have smart system that can copy flows from one account to the next, so you don't have to like redo everything. You can just like quickly, like if you set up your strategy for France or Belgium, you can just quickly repeat that and make sure it's like the right language, right currency, etc.
He answered, he said it's French and Dutch on Shopify, right?
Yeah, super easy. Yeah. So like one of the strongest integration that we have today is with Shopify. So we replicate the model of Shopify. So if you have like, you know, on the front end, on the back end of Shopify, you have 2 shops. We are going to do the same. So it's just like linking 2 different shops on Klaviyo, but yeah, it's super easy to set up. Yeah. Summary for the first part of this presentation. Cookieless future, very important to like shift and really focus on like owning your data, owning your growth, and knowing exactly where your customers are. Power to the people. Obviously, your customers are the one that you need to speak to. So it's just like owning those relationships. You need to connect with customers 100%. So if you don't know anything about them, like ask them, like ASAP, like your VIP customers, you can do a segment on Klaviyo really quickly to like find out exactly who has spent the most in the last 6 months on your website, what they bought, etc. So reach out to them and say, hey, I want to speak to you. I want to learn about your who you are as a person, and just ask them feedback, and then decide what data really matters, like the strategy you're going to put in place. We do have a guide, so the link is here. We do have like customer first marketing with like lots more examples that you can use for your business. So one of the things that we think is that today in e-commerce, like your tech stack is a bit broken. You might have your website sitting here, your email marketing sitting here, you have your reviews sitting over there, and you're managing everything kind of like on its own. And we think everything should be all connected. So either, you know, you can be on PrestaShop, on BigCommerce, on like a custom platform. Today we have like APIs that are really strong that can just like do exactly the same. that's like a direct integration will do. So there is no excuses or no reason why you wouldn't do that today. You need to be able to just like have an ecosystem that really talk to each other. So if I speak about shipping, like why would you use like a shipping company to send your emails that are like have the branding of the shipping company? You don't control that. Like your customer is like, oh, it's Dear Digital sending me an email from shipping company. Like you can actually integrate those with Klaviyo, have your designs email just as your brand. But it might also be like retail POS. So you might have physical stores and you don't know who those customers are. Like they come to your shop, you have no idea who they are. Today you can potentially connect your POS system to Klaviyo to say, John came yesterday to my shop. He bought like a jean. He never came to my website before. It's a really good way for you to have like a conversion between physical and online by like having some sort of like sign up on in your shop, like you will do at like H&M or whatever. Like a lot of stores now ask you for their email address. Like think about those sort of like things that you can put in place to like know a bit more about your customers. Yeah, kind of, I'm just gonna, this is like how, this is like very American. It's time to imagine the customer platform. But it's kind of like what I've been telling you all about today. It's like, we think now Klaviyo as a unified customer platform where every single customer, you can go to Klaviyo and know exactly what they've done, what products they've viewed, what they've purchased, and owning those conversations, meaning that you actually drive more revenue at the end of the day. It's all everybody wants to do, and just like not annoying your customers with the wrong communication. So we often have questions about Klaviyo, like, oh yeah, but like, what do you actually do that is better than the rest? And we always refer to like those 4 points. It's like we are built on like a NoSQL system. So it means that we can digest data from any source at any time. And we will just like concentrate those information on your customer profile. So it's like a unified platform that can just like grow with your company. Like we are working today with like Doc Martens internationally. Like you will never run out of possibilities using Klaviyo just because it really scales with your business. And one of the things that is incredible is that it's super fast. So if today you have a shop on PrestaShop, Shopify online store, like in a few clicks, all of your information is just pumped on Klaviyo. You don't have to have like overnight sync, like in a few seconds, like all of the information is just there. And what we do and what we've been speaking to about is really personalization at scale. If I have 5 customers, super easy to know exactly what they do, what they want. If I have 1 million customers, then that becomes really, really difficult. And powerful ecosystem, like ecosystem of partners, like agencies, but also ecosystem of like tools that think with us, reviews, loyalty. We spoke about quizzes, all of those. We have more than like 400 different applications that sync with Klaviyo, so you can have like everything that is unified. And we always go back to this, and this is maybe a bit more like not techie because I'm not techie, but like just to understand how we work. Like those are the integrations. So let's say your Shopify reviews, everything is at the bottom. And then what we will do is just like unify all of those profiles. So we just kind of like store all of this data. We're doing all of the learning on Klaviyo and making sense of those data. And then what you will do as a customer, as a client of Klaviyo, is building all of the automation, logic, conditions, campaigns, etc. And then at the end is your customer receiving email, push. We don't do SMS yet in like mainland Europe. It's coming at the end of the year, hopefully. But we do have strong integrations with partners that do allow you to send SMS, think everything. So you can say, I'm sending 1 email at this time, and then like 2 days later, sending an SMS. So it's really important to understand this, because this is what makes Klaviyo what is Klaviyo today. Like we're the only one kind of like since day one, we have all of this information that is really coming to Klaviyo and like digesting this data. We haven't built like an email sender first. It's like data first and forever. This is more information. I'm not gonna do that. This is more salesy stuff, so I'm not gonna pass too much time on that. But if anyone, I have like more case studies that I'm gonna show in a minute. But if you want to know more about Klaviyo, we do have a team in London that does demo. So you can spend like, half an hour just like really dig into the platform, knowing exactly what you do. If you're a customer and you don't have access to our team, I can also give you an email address that they do strategy session for like maybe half an hour, 45 minutes with you, sitting down and saying like, okay, this flow, I think you should do this, you should improve this conversion rate is not good enough. So we do have support for all of the customers to do better on Klaviyo. And we don't have a free trial. This is a lie. Sorry. I don't know what this is, but yeah, very sorry.
Maybe just a question from my side.
Yeah.
I think everybody heard last few months and so on, but on your slide where you start with databases and then you go towards learning and so on, will there be AI included pretty soon?
So we have a few tools that are doing AI at the moment. So we have like subject line, it's tiny, but it's like one option at Klaviyo. It's like, if you don't know how to write your subject line, you can just say cat food, new cat food, and they're just gonna tell you exactly like, I think I actually have it open here, I can show you. Yeah. So if you can see here, so this is one of the Klaviyo accounts. So here you can just like, if you have like a promotion, product promotion, you can just describe your products, and then Klaviyo is going to give you like 5 subject line. And it's actually, if you're running out of inspiration, like it's pretty good, like good. So this is the only AI that we have for now, but as you said, it's moving fast. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know what's the plan on this side of things, but like I've been working in a SaaS company before, but like Klaviyo does like product release on a daily basis. Like we have a team of like, I mean, as a partner, you must see it. It's like we have weekly emails of like, this has been improved, this has been improved. So we tell our customer to be customer centric, but Klaviyo does it really well also. Did you have any questions? Anyone?
Are you also working on integration with WhatsApp?
I don't know if you know Trango. Yeah, so we have an integration with them. But it's a big topic at Klaviyo, because obviously in Europe, like everybody's using WhatsApp for business. So this is why we didn't have the capacity in-house to do the full integration. So we are looking for partners that do it really well. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And Trango is, a great example of how we will use the ecosystem of partners to kind of get, allow customers to do that. Yeah. Any more questions? I feel like I've been talking a lot. I'm just going to give you 2 more examples of customers. So this is Brava Fabric, and they started on Klaviyo. I think they came from MailChimp. It's a classical example of someone that didn't really own their channels before, and that quickly the email marketing channel was like the first channel of conversion for that brand. What they did, yeah, just a bit of data here. From MailChimp to Klaviyo, 76% increase in revenue. This is a bit tricky because if you're on MailChimp that you don't really track the revenue, so it's like approximate. So it's always like it looks always higher when then you connect your store to Klaviyo, but they knew their data from what they think they knew, and it was 76% increase from MailChimp to Klaviyo. And today it's 60% of the total online revenue that is generated on Klaviyo. And like, we are speaking to customers every day and people are just like, no, it's not possible. Like 60% from emails, like you're lying to us. It's real. Like we see some businesses just generating massive amounts of revenue, just using email segmentation and really like understanding who the customers are. On average on Klaviyo, I think it's between 28 to 30% of revenue that is generated using their own data and emails. Emails mean flows, campaigns.
Does that include that I saw on your slide of the layers, you push to email, obviously, but also to other channels like social media, etc. Is that included in that figure? Is it like everything generated through Klaviyo or really Klaviyo mailing?
So you can have like a split between push if you're doing push. Obviously, if you click, then we will give you the revenue. So we do like a last touch and then the purchase to actually do the tracking. But you will have SMS, email, meaning flows and newsletter, and then we just break down where the revenue comes from. But we just count it as like, we call it like a Klaviyo revenue value. So on your dashboard, you will see like how much revenue month on month that you're making. And to finish this example, they had an increase of like 101% of online sales. And this is just because they have been working on like conversion on site and then all of the triggers like welcome flows, etc., to just activate those customers. And yes, this is the dream slides because it really happens.
Somebody asked a question. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Sorry, the question was, now I can say. The question was, do you attribute the revenue per channel? And yes, we do. You have a split on Klaviyo that will say like email is 1,000, SMS is that much, but we just attribute the whole value to Klaviyo as a platform. So what they did, and this is like a graph that we're always using. So we have customer success managers at Klaviyo, but also agencies will help you with that. It's like understanding exactly the customer, what they're going through. So obviously they visit your site, they subscribe, they view a product, they add the product to cart, they start checkout, they purchase, they use the product, they become a fan, or maybe a promoter, or maybe at some point they will have a risk of churn. And then you can also do customer research at the end. But like at every step of the way, you have an action that you can take on Klaviyo to actually activate that data. So it's like site bounce. Okay, then I'm going to send you like a viewed product like email. The welcome ceremony is super important. If they haven't done the purchase, you can do an upsell if they've added something to cart. You do like the bundle is also a really good example of like, doing that on your website, but then linking to Klaviyo. So there is a lot you can do, but like understanding exactly what you need to do at every step of the way. Like it's really, we make it very easy on Klaviyo. Yeah, so really understanding like how to segment your base.
Another question from the audience.
Yeah.
Louis is asking a very specific question on the full subscribers and customer base. What would be the estimated conversion rates, like all the customers, in comparison to what MailChimp offers?
I will write that down. Like if you can copy the question, I will. Yeah. Because I don't have the stats. Yeah. But really good question. Yeah. Automation, 60% of total revenue. So obviously this is like the testimonial of like every single opportunities for them to like generate revenue. They had like a really good understanding of like how they were doing on Klaviyo, but you can also compare yourself to other companies. So we have a tool that is called Benchmark, and it's something that customers just told us. they're just like, yeah, I'm doing amazing on Klaviyo, but maybe I'm doing really badly. Like I want to be able to compare myself to like another cat food company that is using Klaviyo. So now we have the option to really give you stats from like other verticals that have like the same annual revenue, but also like the same categories. And you will be able to see, okay, my unsubscribe rate is 10% and the rest of the industry is like 0.1%. I need to do something about this. I'm not segmenting the base, or I'm not doing something right. You have like welcome flows. For instance, you can, you think you're doing really well because you have like 27% open rate, but if the rest of the industry is like 40%, then you might want to do something about it. So it's like a really good tool that is that people are using to really compare yourself and make sure that you do the best you can. Okay, top email series. I don't think there is any surprise here. Like they haven't done something like very magical. Back in stock, one of the best working flow. They have a button that says you can, leave your email address to get the alert when something is coming back in stock. And this has been working magic for them. From memory, I think they do really small batches. So it's like, they don't have like a million products. So it's a really good way for them to like activate this base of people. As soon as they have something that is back in store, they send an email that is designed for those people. Review follow-up. So this is a really, again, good way to connect with your customer. So you have a really happy customer saying like, I love your products, it's awesome. And then they never hear back from you. You probably want to use that testimonial to like have it at the bottom of your email saying, this is a fantastic product, I love it, or whatever they're saying. But also the very important part is like, if someone is like 1 star, hates this brand, never coming back, like you really need to understand why they're not coming back and why they're so unhappy. So on Klaviyo, you can actually segment, like if someone is giving me 1 star, I'm going to send a personal follow-up saying like, oh, sorry, like this didn't work out this time, but maybe we can talk and then I give you 5% discount on your next order or whatever. But also your happiest customer might be a brand advocate. So if you have like a referral system, they can just like refer a friend or use those people to like do more with pretty much nothing because it's your own customers pretty much. So it's like free marketing, kind of free. And A/B testing, I think it's like when we speak about A/B testing on Klaviyo, it's like A, B, C, D, E. You can actually test like a whole bunch of things. And we have a smart system that will pick your best, your best performing like flow, or in this one, it's like a form. So you don't have to do like all of the digging, we do it for you. But like you can really, on the sign-up form as an email incentive, like you can really work on that saying like 10% or like free shipping is also something that works really well. But if you don't ask your customer and if you don't do A/B testing, you actually don't know. So it's like, just try it for a month and see what works best and then learn from that. Oh, I spoiled everything. I just stopped. Yeah, I spoke about that. But yeah, they have been using the benchmark to really compare themselves to the rest of the industry, which I think is very interesting. It doesn't give you like precise information and you don't really see who you're compared to on Klaviyo, but at least you have some average that you can work on directly there.
Maybe a question from my side on the benchmarking.
Yeah.
Is it mostly based on industry, or is it also based on certain pricing? For example, products that are super expensive often have a low conversion rate.
Yeah. So we do, like I don't actually know the calculation, but they do industry, revenue, percentage of Klaviyo attributed value. So they will just like take all of these components and then just match you with like similar brands to actually give you those results.
On the benchmarking, but is it something that Klaviyo users have to opt into?
No. So I'm going to show you really quick, actually. So the good thing on Klaviyo is that if you're an entrepreneur and you're just starting your business, you're going to have exactly the same set of tools as Doc Martens International. We don't have like a free version and a premium version. You have access to every single tool the same way.
Yeah, but I assume that as a user, my data is also feeding that benchmark.
Ah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what I need to do. That's or
Yeah, so it takes time. So I think it's like 3 months. You start on Klaviyo and then we are feeding the system with your data. And then like you might not have like any information when you start on Klaviyo straight away. If that's, yeah. We're just like using your data as you go to then match you and compare yourself with the rest of our customers. Yeah. But if you're on Klaviyo, you find it here. There an exit. It's super interesting. You have, so you're the one putting your peer group. So here you can like choose your sector. And then here you can see like your business performance month after month. This is a test account, so you don't, I mean, a small account, so there's nothing. But you will be able to see the graph. You will be able to see like the email campaigns, your value, and then the peers. So you can really, checking. You can really see exactly how you compare. Same for flows and same for signups.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How long will wait can we integrate this further? Like we discussed.
So you have an integration page here. Oh yeah, sorry, good point. The question was, can you show me where I can see reviews? Yeah. Okay, so here on Klaviyo, you have a partner integration. And here you will have a lot of different categories. If you want to look at reviews, you will have, depending on like, if you're on Shopify or if you're on Magento or what platform you're using, we have like different integrations. So for instance, on Shopify, reviews.io is like one of the best integration. So I don't know what platform you're using, but like we also give you recommendation in terms of like, if you're like, I don't know what to choose because I don't know anything about review, you can contact the team and we will put you in touch with those companies if you want to speak to them. But you will have to sign up obviously on reviews, pay the membership or whatever.
Surveys.
Surveys. Yeah, sorry. Surveys, same. Exactly. Where is it? I don't see it. Oh, here. Yeah. So it's kind of the same. Like you will have partners here that you can do surveys with. However, like there are some ways on Klaviyo that you can. Yeah, there is a few tools that you can use. For instance, like the forms on Klaviyo. Sign-up forms, but also your own. You can just like re-qualify your customers using form. So I'll show you really quick. Here, like you could use forms here to kind of like ask questions to your customers. So for instance, you spoke about surveys. No, you will need an integration for that. Yeah. Yeah. We killed everything. Yeah, it's really easy. Yeah, you just integrate, you just choose your tool, integrate it on Klaviyo, and then we just distribute the information per profile. Yeah, it seems complex, but once you have done the integration, like the rest is, yeah, it's easy. Yeah. Sorry, I just got just a few examples here. And I'm finished after that pretty much. But Alessi is also a customer and they've used like different techniques for in economic challenges. And I'm going to speak about that really quickly. But 1,881%. Again, like it's like one of those examples that's like blew our mind, and this is where we are showing it, like the increase of revenue from emails, especially because they came from like a B2B to a D. Yeah.
What was their initial?
Exactly. Exactly. And this is why, exactly. It's what I was explaining earlier, like someone that's coming from MailChimp, not knowing exactly where the revenue come from. Yeah, we always, yeah. So when we do those surveys, we usually like try to check the first month on Klaviyo and like the evolution over the months. So we are trying to like have a base of like existing data to just like do those figures, but yeah. They have been using Klaviyo for Black Friday and had like a 40% increase of revenue. And what the challenges were supply chains, high rates of inflation, like increased cost of advertising. So those guys were actually really heavily doing Facebook advertising, Instagram, etc. And like they saw the cost jumping to the roof, and they were just like, this is not sustainable. We're just throwing money out of the window. What can we do? So they really focused on their customers, and this is what has worked for them. And the target was like 50% increase on the previous year in terms of revenue. So they had some like really creative promotion. So think about your VIPs and early access to sales. Like those strategies really, really work. You can have like premium content for them. But also like if we think about creative promotion, also creative messaging, like we have some brands that do, you know, the shoes, like shining stuff, like, yeah, exactly. Thank you. They have like a really long nurturing welcome ceremony where they give you all of the tips about how to actually do it. And it's like a brilliant way to speak to your customers. Like you don't want to go like every couple of weeks saying like 10%, 5%, like it just doesn't work that way. So think about how you can like use the knowledge that you have to then educate your customer and work on like the content long term. But for Alessi, the early access was like, it was genius. Like it works really, really well. So just another idea. Segmented all of the journeys. So window shoppers, like bargain hunters, again, like who wants promotion, what you can do on Klaviyo, it's like you can do a segment and look at who has shopped during Black Friday, Cyber Monday last year, but didn't buy for the rest of the year. That's a really good indication that those people really want a promotion. And like what you want to do this year is like, you don't want to like contact your highest buyer and just say 50%, like you're gonna waste money. So like really understanding like who your customers are, and this is what they did, segmenting all of the journeys to create more value for each of them. And again, education first. So shifting from really doing heavy promotions, obviously Black Friday, Cyber Monday is like a promotion period, but like really trying to have some content that is about, you know, I don't know, making coffee and like doing, I don't know, I don't have any examples, but like you get the idea in terms of like educating your customers on like a specific area. Yeah, just like some feedback in terms of like why they've been using Klaviyo and like all of the promotion and personalized email strategies. And yeah, I think that was a lot of information for everyone. Are you overwhelmed? Are you happy? Is it good? Do you have questions, hopefully? So I can answer some today. Yeah.
One question about the you went through all of the integrations that you showed the quizzes,
yeah,
etc. How would as company, so we are data monitoring company, only focus on e-commerce. How would we go about becoming a Klaviyo partner? Is that already a very streamlined process, or is it something where we talk to someone like you? Or
yeah, so I focus on tech agencies, like digital agencies. We have someone in the team that does only tech partners. So it's like helping some partners like Trango, for instance, or you might want to be like, hey, we have some customers in common, or we have some challenges that we want to resolve. What we usually do is like give you all of the information in terms of APIs that you can actually use, because it's like we have like a developer platform that is like really like amazing, where you should be able to find all of the information, but we do have someone in-house that will like help you. If we see like a big opportunity, obviously you will have like a one-to-one relationship with someone in the team.
There is, like you say, already an open API
Exactly.
available that
Yeah.
you can call that would already help.
Exactly. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
And how do you also work with Klaviyo when you're sending a huge amount of emails? Do you work with shared IPs with the emails, or can you also dedicate some
Yeah.
different IPs to send from?
I'm going to repeat the question.
Okay.
So the question was, do you have like a shared IP? Can you share an IP with Klaviyo, or do you have like a dedicated sending domain? You can do both. We always try to explain, if you have your own sending domain, you're kind of like a tennis player. You're on your own. If something really bad happened to your reputation, like you kind of like on your own, we can help you like build like the reputation again. You will have some steps and some help from the team. But like if you're using the Klaviyo shared IP, we're kind of like a football team. Like if I fuck up, like you and like everyone in the room is gonna help me. So it's like for smaller brands that have like under, I think 100,000 contacts, I think in the list, it's totally safe to use like a shared IPs. But if you really want to like control your domain and like do this work, you can also do that on Klaviyo. Yeah. Question?
What is the function that you like and dislike the most?
Ooh, okay. What is the function I like the most and the function I dislike the most? Okay. We have a new dashboard. And I'm like, I love the old dashboard because I was so used to it. So it's like, yeah, it's just like a habit thing, I guess. Do you have the same? Yeah. Okay. Oh, don't like, yeah, but it's like getting used to it. It's almost like, you know, you go to Facebook or Instagram and then they change the logo and you're like, oh my gosh, yeah. So it's kind of like this, but I do think as a product, like Klaviyo is very user friendly. So one of the things I love is like the email builder. I think it's really good. You can really have emails that's like a super hyper personalized, and like it's just really, really easy to use and like best in class. Yeah.
Private education. Do you happen to have more companies like that we can then work with companies that go more than?
Yeah. Yeah. So we have been focusing on e-commerce for like ever, like since day one. But we do have like professional coach, like people that do courses. We have like academies using Klaviyo. So you can use that and plug your, like it's not an e-commerce platform, but it's like your website to Klaviyo. And like the big news, I don't know if you guys, I don't know if John, you have seen the news, but we're heavily moving to non-e-commerce. So we have like an integration now with Square, which is like all of the restaurants that haven't really used like their customer data before. So you go to a restaurant, they have your email address, and then they never contact you back. So it's like a really good way also for restaurants. But it's like, it's just the first step for us to be non-e-commerce, but there is a lot coming up on the roadmap. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. Yes.
One more question. And it's something that I've noticed for the past couple of weeks. I think up to tens or hundreds of e-commerce owners, and all of them that use Klaviyo are also in Shopify.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering, people here that use Klaviyo that are not in Shopify, is there? Do you have an idea or sense of how much of like the percentage division is in the e-commerce?
Yeah, so in Europe, it's 60% Shopify, 40% non-Shopify. I think we have a lot of PrestaShop, Magento. We have done an integration with Centra. It's like a Nordics platform, like really good at B2B and B2C. So yeah, to give you an idea, it's just like the more like our objective as a company is to be like 50-50 and to be like reliant on Shopify as much as we do now.
It's the strongest integration because historically
It's like the longest SaaS business that we integrate with. So if you think about like integrating Magento, like it's like super heavy in terms of like, not heavy, but you have like customized website with like lots of layers at the front, at the back of the side. Sometimes it can be like a bit more meticulous. We do have like all of the integration out of the box. So you should be able to like plug in your Magento to Klaviyo in like an hour. But on Shopify, because it's a SaaS company, like you're able to really like plug the system like super, super precisely. And also like Shopify invested on Klaviyo last year, which always helped. Yeah.
that could also be information.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah. My email is here. You can find me on LinkedIn. If you have any questions, like you can just like drop me an email. I will just forward your information to the rest of the team. Question.
Just have one more question. What if you send like say millions of emails a day? Is it still a good idea to be on a platform as Klaviyo? And is it like in a custom tier where you get custom pricing and things?
Yeah. So we so for instance on the like our biggest customers are like Glossier in the US, or like we have Dr. Martens, we have signed Supreme in the US. So just like they send millions of emails. Like we have never had an issue not being able to send emails. Like even like during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I think it's like 15 billion events per minute on Klaviyo, just like changing. And it's like we are like a really robust company, but in terms of pricing, obviously this has like an impact on like how much you're going to pay, and we have like pricing that will scale with your company as you go. Yeah.
Also a good question from the audience. Again, looks like Shopify is also pushing their email marketing.
Yeah.
And how does it compare them to Klaviyo, and why should you pick Klaviyo and why should you go for Shopify?
Okay, if I had my own, like if I just started my business and I have like busy doing like packing and distributing my products, like you can use Shopify emails. I think it's a really good start. So there you're just outscaling the capacity of Shopify emails, then like Klaviyo is probably the best option. We do have customers that come from Shopify emails and they were really happy with it. But when you want to like really segment your database and like do more personalized personalization, like you quickly like output by the capacity of Shopify email. And like I always say, like, do you think Supreme will use Shopify emails? Like it just, yeah, it just like, it depends of like the project and the size of the company. But yeah, I would say Shopify email is still very, very for entrepreneurs. Yeah.
I have a little question.
Yeah.
As we are always thinking about big companies, but I am a startup. Actually.
Yeah.
We work with Klaviyo, and for me, Klaviyo is like selling 1 meal a week, and I'm always very impressed about the sales afterwards. So I realize it's important. Would you recommend a small company to take? I'm a scientist. To take an expert in house for mailings, since the mails that I'm sending out, you really feel it's every time a huge fix. So I think I have a business for this.
Yeah. So obviously, like, oh, sorry. Yeah. So the question, sorry, everyone, was, what's your name? Amandine. Amandine is, she has her own company, small business. Every time she sends emails from Klaviyo, because she's a Klaviyo customer, she sees like a huge pickup of sales and an increase of sales. Now the question is, should I employ someone in-house to do only Klaviyo? Like the short answer is like, can you afford it? If you can, it's great. But you also have a network of agencies and like freelancers that can really help you. We do have like a Upwork profile where you can actually do like one-off projects with like a freelancer. But you also have like agencies like Digital that can really help you like on a one-off kind of like doing a project on like we have seen today, like working out your flows and like all of this stuff. So it's really up to you, but
We have.
yeah.
After this workshop, I have a feeling we could update it really more.
Yeah.
Quickly, actually.
Yeah.
For testing the AV and this kind of things, we just
Yeah.
do. We have those and we have this.
So the question, like the reflection that she has after the workshop is that she's not doing enough with like A/B testing and not like modifying what she's been doing. So the short answer is just get someone to just like do a analyze of like your account, like give you a recommendation. And after the recommendation, you can either take it yourself or like just outsource it.
How other companies are doing, small companies?
Yeah, some of them doing. Yeah.
Yeah, we have the same, let's say, challenge, not so much with nailing, but with our ads. In the beginning, we did it ourselves. We had some decent results, and then we were so busy with the day-to-day that we realized that we weren't really experimenting as much as we should. And we worked with one freelancer, and every 2 weeks he goes through it, gives it all these ideas, implements it himself, and so now we know that at least every 2 weeks we keep iterating. But I do feel the sentiment that after a while you just think, okay, it works, I have to focus on something else. So it's good that you pay somebody else to always repeat the exercise.
Okay, thank you.
So the tips, sorry, for people online, the tips was some people here have done used freelancers before to improve conversion on advertising, but yeah, it's a good idea to just get someone to do that for you. Yeah. Thank you.
Good.
Thank
you.
Thank you. Louis, I wait for your email with that question. You have the email on the screen. I will be getting back to you on that.